I'll tell you why Ramadan cannot begin on Wednesday, the 18th of February for those that follow Saudi Arabia. Simply because it will be impossible for Saudi Arabia to sight the moon on Tuesday. Let me explain to you why. But before I start, we need to understand that the Prophet ﷺ has clearly told us that we must fast only when we sight the moon. Before I actually begin, there's two things that you need to know regarding moon sighting. As you can see, that there are two basic elements to be able to sight the moon. Number one, how old is the moon since its birth? The experts of moon sighting say that the moon has to be around 15 to 16 hours since its birth for us to be able to see the moon. And the second thing is how long the moon stays above the horizon. The longer time it stays above the horizon after sunset, the better chance for us to see the moon. And the experts say that it should be at least 45 minutes after sunset. Now, as you can see on the screen, the people of Mecca on Tuesday, they are going to attempt to sight the moon. However, at the time of sunset, the moon will only be around 3 hours and 18 minutes old. And remember, the expert said that it has to be at least 15 to 16 hours since its birth for us to be able to have a chance to sight the moon. Sunset, Maghrib, will be 6:19. And the moon set, meaning when the moon will disappear, will be 6:22. So we will have only around, or the people of Mecca will only have around 3 minutes to sight the moon. And as we mentioned previously, that the experts say the moon has to be for around 45 minutes above the horizon for us to have a chance to see the moon. So this makes it impossible for the people of Mecca to sight the moon on Tuesday. On the other hand, if you look on Wednesday, there's every chance for them to sight the moon and begin fasting on Thursday, as the age of moon at local sunset on Wednesday will be 27 hours, much more than 14 to 15 hours, as the experts have mentioned. And the visibility window, meaning after the sunset, how long the moon remains above the horizon, will be 59 minutes. The expert said around 45 minutes for us to have a chance to see the moon. So on Wednesday, it's a very good chance for the people of Mecca to sight the moon. However, miraculously, the people of Saudi Arabia will claim to see the moon on Tuesday and begin fasting on Wednesday, even though it was impossible to sight the moon. Why do they do this? Because they follow a predetermined calendar known as Qura calendar. So what about us, the people who live in the UK? As you can see on the screen, on Tuesday, the 17th of February, the age of moon since birth will be around 5 hours. As we mentioned, it has to be around 14 to 15 hours for us to be able to sight the moon. And the visibility window, meaning how long the moon will be above the horizon, is around 6 to 7 minutes, which makes it impossible for us to sight the moon here in the UK, as it needs to be around 45 minutes above the horizon. And as mentioned, on Wednesday, it's highly likely that we are able to sight the moon and begin fasting on Thursday. Remember, the numbers of Morocco are very similar to the numbers of UK. Now the question is, are you going to continue following Saudi Arabia in such an important matter when Saudi Arabia has lost all its credibility when it comes to moon sighting? Or are you going to follow the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?